And we're live.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you were locked in onto the point with
Skip.
and the King. You guys know where to find Simon. Do I really need to pull out that book again? Seriously? If you haven't bought it yet, you're slacking in life, okay? Dougie J's. You guys know where to find him. SimonBroder.com, Amazon.ca, find Running the Point.
And make
Skipper.
sure you're following. And make sure you're following the podcast too on YouTube and on Facebook.
You better be watching us on YouTube. Follow us on our Instagram. Follow us on our Facebook. To the point, T.O. because that's the city that we represent. Skipper, our last video that we just previously uploaded was covering the Eastern Conference first round in the playoffs. So now, shall we cover the Western Conference first round?
All right, let's do it. Where do you want to go first?
Okay, there's something hot going on out there in the Western Conference. The Western Conference, they actually have to do that playoff buy-in or playoff tournament. That couple of games. Obviously, Portland. I called that last episode.
Well, it was only one game, but yeah, it could have been two.
It could have been two if Memphis won one. But like I said, Portland's going to get into the 8th seed. But anyway, I want to focus more on, I wanted to ask you about that playoff series that's going to be coming up between the Houston Rockets and the Oklahoma City Thunder. What do you think about that series, Skipper?
All right, I'm gonna go out on a limb on this one. I am going to call it for OKC. I think it's gonna be a really good series. I think this is one of the calls that I'm the least confident in of all my 8 playoff picks. I think the Rockets could really win this series, but I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna say OKC in 6. First things first, obviously you have the Chris Paul Russell Westbrook trade. That's gonna be looming over everything, and with Westbrook out with a quad injury. And the Rockets having traded all those first-round picks to get him, this is just going to be a really high-pressure series for Houston. OKC is basically going in, playing with house money, saying, if we beat you in this series, that makes you look like an idiot, Daryl Morey, for ever making that trade. So, I mean, it'll be an interesting series because obviously everyone's been talking about how Houston is playing really small. They don't have a center on the roster. They just rain threes all the time, and with Russ gone, they're going to rain even more threes because Russ is the worst three-point shooter they have. So they're going to play really small. They're going to play really funky. They're going to set probably the all-time playoff record for threes attempted in a game. But I just really want to win. Yeah, but I really just want to see what Chris Paul can do against his old team. He's he's really been much maligned. He's never really gone very far in the playoffs. He's basically Kyle Lowry, let's be honest. They have a lot of the same similarities, and I think this might be Chris Paul's year. Kyle Lowry. Yeah, Kyle Lowry before he won the chip. So I think I'm really excited to see what kind of energy OKC comes in with. I'm not sure if I trust Gallo and Gilgeous-Alexander in the playoffs because Gilgeous-Alexander obviously is a young player. But okay. Great. Yeah, I'm just saying he's young. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying he's young. He's very good. I also think Steven Adams is a little washed, or maybe not quite the player that he could be. And I think he's probably going to get played off the floor in this series with Houston going small. But I'm still going to go with CP3 with my heart. I'm just going to say, come on, OKC, get it done, embarrass Houston, knock them out, and we'll see how it goes. What do you think?
How many games do you think?
OKC in 6 is my number. But like I said, that's my least confident pick of all my picks. But
Skipper, what are we doing, man? Why are we not opposed to each other? I'm picking OKC in 6. Guys, you don't believe me? OKC in 6.
Yeah. All right.
Now let me tell you why I believe that. Maybe it's a little opposed to what you think. Okay, Westbrook is going to be out for a little bit. That takes a hell of a lot of the offense, considering Houston doesn't have any defense. They socially distance everybody. They initially started the social distancing on the court. Um, he's out. So they don't all they got is Harden. Who else do you have?
They got to run everything through Harden, and they have PJ Tucker. PJ plays defense.
Who's their biggest player? PJ.
Yeah.
Right. He's their big. Steven Adams could eat him all day. Okay. You keep feeding that ball when you got a point guard as poignant as Chris Paul to feed that ball to Steven Adams. It's a wrap.
You watch. Adams won't be playing by game two. Adams won't be playing by game two.
It's like me and my boy Bobby that I play with. We still whoop everybody because we run that inside-outside game. CP3 towards the down to Steven Adams down low. He's gonna eat them all day, man. I know a lot of Harden sexuals are gonna be like, Brian, what are you talking about? No, listen, Harden can put up he can put up a lot of shots. He's a great scorer. There's no taking away from his game. However, it's a team game. I believe OKC can take it because I have the utmost faith in Alexander.
Yeah, okay? He's a great player. I think it's just his first playoff experience. This is the first time in the playoffs, I believe. So we'll see how he handles it. Yeah.
You get a little bit of jitters, but when you have an experienced point guard like CP3 that hasn't broken that barrier to make it to the top, but you have someone with experience. You got Steven Adams. You got these guys, and then you got a good coach. Yeah, I believe that OKC in 6. I cannot believe, Skip, you and I are on the same page on this one. Oh man, is there anything we're not on the same page about? Because maybe I want to ask you about the Denver Nuggets playing the Utah Jazz. How do you feel about that?
I don't feel a whole lot of things about this series, to be honest. It's probably the NBA TV series. All due respect to the Nuggets, who are very good. The Jazz are pretty good too, but I see those two teams on, and I get a little sleepy. So both of them went 3-5 in the bubble. Not the best. The Jazz, they lost Bojan Bogdanovic, obviously.
Yep.
So they haven't really been very themselves. Conley's looked a little bit better, and there are some rumors that they were throwing some games to avoid playing Houston. So maybe they're not quite as bad as they look. But overall, I'm not very excited by the Jazz, by how they looked all season. Denver's a little more interesting because you got Jokic. He's a big guy. He's a great passer. You got Michael Porter Jr., who's really exploding during the bubble. One thing is Torrey Craig looked like he jammed his back against the Raptors the other day. He was going in for a dunk and he got rejected by the rim and he had to check out of the game. So it'd be interesting to see if he plays because I like him a lot. He's a nice little defensive wing for them. And the other thing with Denver is it seems like their guards haven't quite gotten it together. I don't know if they were coming out of injuries, but Jamal Murray, Gary Harris. I know Monty Morris was a big name for them last year. I don't know if he's playing much this year. So those players kind of concern me. I don't know where to go with this, but I'm just going to go Nuggets in 5 because I think they're the more complete team. I think Utah has – oh, Brian liked that one. Utah's not they're a little interesting because of Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert and the sort of the defensive presence of Gobert. But yeah, I'm going to go Nuggets in 5. What do you think?
I said Denver in 7.
Okay, I can buy that too. Yeah.
I said Denver in 7 because Utah, like you just touched upon, Rudy Gobert coming back. The whole reason this whole COVID thing happened in the freaking bubble was because of him being a jerk. Oh, Lord. At least we got the NBA, thanks to him. Donovan Mitchell, yeah, man. They're a formidable team. They're sound, but they're sound on offense, but the only thing is they got to watch their defense. They rely too much on Rudy Gobert on their defense. Denver, is an overall team. No matter who you have. Like you said about the point guards, but I believe in Murray. That kid can ball. I really like watching him play. I think they could do it. They're not too sound on defense, but they're better overall, and I think that's going to go the stretch. So I would say Denver in 7.
Yeah, so the one thing about that is if you look at Gobert and you look at Jokic, people really love Gobert because of his defensive presence. But if you ask me, I way rather have a center who can pass the ball, who can be a big man in the post, than just a rim runner who plays defense. Never been a big fan of that.
So you're picking what? Denver and what?
I picked Denver in 5. I wouldn't be surprised to see Utah stretch it out.
7.
But I got Denver for sure. The one thing about Utah is that I do think Conley has started to come around in the bubble. And, Donovan Mitchell, Conley, they're a little bit dangerous and they play good defense. But
they don't have a good dynamic together.
But this is Denver's year to come together. And yeah, I think they'll pull it out pretty easily.
They don't have a good dynamic like you and I have.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, Conley doesn't know how to play with Gobert, right?
Exactly. So Skipper, that's 2 of the playoff series in the Western Conference. The third one I want to ask you is Mr. Kawhi and Dime, Mr. Win a chip and leave Toronto to go to the LA Clippers. Take Paul George with you. Meanwhile, you could have repeated. Do you really think you are going to win a chip this year?
Okay, so
after leaving here, so Skipper, it annoys me. The LA Clippers with Kawhi are facing the Dallas Mavericks with Luka Doncic. By the way, he is the hottest mom in the league. Anyway, and he should be in the voting for MVP. What do you think about that series, Skip?
Well, I'm going to pick the Clippers because you can't not pick the Clippers with Kawhi. They're the favorites easily, and they need to win this year. They have a lot invested in it. There is a little bit of upset potential with Luka and Porzingis. The Mavs only went 3-5 in the bubble, but they were in a lot of games. There was some overtime losses. There was one game I watched where they were down by 2 and they took a contested 3 instead of a dunk to push it to overtime. Like, there were just some weird choices. And they're another team that really, they're all offense. They can run up a score on you real quick, but they can give it right back real quick. We saw that against the Raptors most specifically, but I've seen a lot of games where the Mavs, they just don't really hold their leads very well. And they're a great offensive team, but they're just not really built for the playoffs. So I think we'll see some interesting high-scoring games. I am a little bit concerned about the Clippers because Harrell obviously has not cleared quarantine yet. I don't know if they're saying he's going to be back for game 1 or not.
He's back.
There were some concerns that he wasn't going to get back in time for game 1. He's in the bubble, but I think he might still not be eligible to play game 1. But we'll see.
Back.
We'll see.
I read that today.
Okay.
Probably about 2 hours ago.
And then Beverly's got a bit of a sore calf. I
think it's a contusion. Yeah.
Yeah. And I do have concerns about the Clippers when you start talking about getting into the finals, the Western Conference Finals, like starting Marcus Morris is not really he's not really what I would want to see in that position in a serious playoff game. But again, I think against the Mavs, they'll be able to pull it out. I think there'll be some high-scoring games. The Mavs have some good players. Dwight Finney-Smith has been kind of a nice guy. They've obviously got our old buddy DeLon Wright. So it'll be I'm expecting a really good series, but I'm expecting the Clippers to pull it out. What do you think?
How many games?
I'm going to say 6, but I think there could be any range. It could be 5, it could be 7. I think it's pretty wide open. I believe that Kawhi will be there in the end.
Skip, could we stop agreeing? Really?
We're going Chuck.
I have it written down right here. Clippers in 6.
Nice.
Montrezl Harrell coming back. Okay. Like that's a game changer. You got Patrick Beverly, you got Sweet Lou, um, your ambassador who's in love with them and likes to write lyrics about them. Um, but I honestly think Kawhi can lead this team and pull it out. Like you got Paul George. Paul George, now it's his time to finally step up. Like he was the man in Indy.
You know what I saw?
Until he went down, and then but now you see Kawhi what he did last year with the Raptors. Even though Kyle Lowry, your boy Kalo, was really the leader of the team, the de facto leader of the team. I think they could pull it out. What did you see, Skip?
I saw just a note that Paul George hasn't been past the first round since like 2013.
Yeah.
Which I thought about it and I was like, oh yeah. We all talk about him like he's some amazing superstar, but he's always run into a better team. So yeah, I don't know what to make of that. But maybe he's a little overrated. I think
we'll talk about them in the second round, but we agree that they're going to make it out of the first round, right?
I think if the Mavs were a year older and they had like one more piece, maybe who's the guy that got hurt? The Canadian kid, Powell. Powell got hurt.
Yeah.
Maybe they have him back. Maybe they get a defensive player. I think they give him a run for their money. I think this year is all about initiating Luka into the playoffs, and I think they're going to fold pretty quick.
Yeah, they'll fold. He's got to learn.
Yeah.
Kid's got to learn, right? Now, Skipper.
Hit me.
This is the one thing, in case you guys didn't notice, we let this last because this is what all the American media wants to talk about. We don't care for it. Well, I personally don't. Okay? Los Angeles Lakers. Okay, yeah, I do care about it. Against the Portland Trail Blazers. This is where your LeBron James has to step up. Oh, well, he's got this and he's got... I don't want to hear about that. This is where he has to step up. Anthony Davis has been the man for that team. Skipper, what do you think about this series going forward?
I think it's a pretty easy win for the Lakers. I think probably 5, maybe even 4, but I'm going to pick 5 for now. I think they take care of business against Portland. I do think the Lakers are a little vulnerable. You've got obviously LeBron and AD, but then you look at the rest of their starting lineup and you sort of wrinkle your nose. Like Danny Green, we saw last year with the Raptors. He was great in the regular season, couldn't hit a shot in the playoffs. And then they're starting JaVale McGee. Like, okay, sure, I guess. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Like, these are not championship level players. It's really LeBron and AD and pray for rain. Like, that's their motto. They've got Kuzma. They've got a couple guys off the bench. They can hurt you, but the Lakers, I think, are really vulnerable to an
Kuzma's
upset.
Pretty much their third guy.
Yeah, but he's coming off the bench. He's not really all that. So I think the Lakers are really vulnerable to an upset. I just don't think Portland's the team, because we saw Portland. They've been playing Game 7s all through the bubble. They barely scraped through. They just barely got past the Nets to make it into the playoff game. They made a couple shots late to beat Memphis. Like, they've just been going through this whole bubble on the skin of their teeth. And tell me, who on Portland is going to guard LeBron?
Skipper.
You want Melo on LeBron?
Want to know what I think?
You want Melo on LeBron?
You want to know what I think?
Sure, take it away.
This is where you and I are completely off the page. I'm saying Portland takes them out in 7 games. If it goes to a 7th game, Portland's taking it.
Let me tell you, if it goes to a 7th game, LeBron is taking over that game.
No, he's not. He can't take over Jack. He's leading his team in assists and turnovers. And that's it. How do you call that a leader? That's not a leader. AD's been doing all the work for them. Look what happens when AD sits out. Look up my post. I show you all the time how LeBron fails.
All right. Well, you could just be a LeBron hater, but LeBron.
No, I'm not being a LeBron hater. What I'm saying is LeBron is just biding his time right now. Okay, because he's just waiting until Bronny comes into the league so they can be the first father and son duo on a team. That's all he's waiting for. After that, it's straight to Hollywood. Okay? I'm saying this is where I'm going with my upset. This is my one upset of the playoffs so far. Portland.
Okay.
Portland takes out LA.
So I don't buy most of that, but say you're right that LeBron's older and the Lakers are vulnerable. Portland is not the team that's going to take them down. Melo is not the guy.
Then who do you think? Melo's a closer, bro.
I mean like
LeBron's
a Denver,
not.
like maybe a Denver could take them out, or Denver's in the third seed, I think. Like maybe a Houston or an OKC could take them out, or Denver in the Western Conference Finals. But they're not going to lose in the first round. LeBron does not lose in the first round. And Portland, for all that everyone's like, oh, they're so great, the team is amazing. Like they have a lot of weaknesses on that team. Yes, Nurkic is a beast.
Yeah.
Yes, Lillard is awesome. CJ McCollum's playing with a broken back though. And Melo, you really want Melo playing defense in the playoffs?
He can. He can now. Now he's revived. He's like, it's like Easter. You know what I mean? He's coming out of the grave.
So here's what's going to happen. Lillard is going to throw down 61 game, and they're going to win. And the Lakers are going to sweep outside of that game. That's what's going to happen.
I'm saying if it goes to 7, bro, it's going to be Portland.
No chance.
That's my pick.
No chance.
Okay, that we'll bet on.
All right.
The usual, $1?
All right, $1. Next time I see you, after maybe 2021.
Yeah, but if you give me that $1, you got to write Dame on the Looney.
All right, I'll give you a Dame $1. And you got to give me a LeBron Looney.
I'll give you 23 cents. I still got some pennies.
All right. All right.
All right, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy our little banter, our predictions, our time. Thank you so much for spending your time with us while you are thinking of your own playoff predictions. If you have anything otherwise or opposition to say to us, or if you agree, please let us know. We love this. This is the best time of the year. Guys, let us know where you're at. Let us know how you feel. Let us know what you think. You Raptors fans, I hope you guys are going to enjoy this playoff run because it's going to be a hell of a run. Telling you. Okay. On behalf of myself and
Skip.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, and
peace.